What's up, guys? This is Green Warrior 291. I'm actually here with a video of a theory, and this is how is Arc 9 going to end, and what exactly am I going to predict? Now, I'm going to have to catch everyone up to speed because I kind of want to make sure I get a recap so everyone knows what's going on. So, phase 1, Subaru feels guilty about, Al losing Priscilla, so he allows him to basically go and with him to the Pleiades Watchtower. They take him there, so that way he can read, I guess, Priscilla's Book of the Dead, and then eventually, while there, Al finally goes with what he was originally made for and captures Subaru and Beatrice. Like, they were off guard, and he basically captures them. They're asleep. They've been asleep this entire arc. After this moment, and not only that, he ends up fighting everyone. He manages to have one of his Book of the Dead possess Volcanica, which essentially made Garfield and Ezzo be defeated because it took a shit ton in order to defeat those two. And then because he hurt one of the girls from Felt's camp, that's like one of the twins that's connected to another twin that's with Reinhard. Essentially, Reinhard came in and we had a big fight between Al Volcanica, and Reinhard. And because of this, it caused a lot of issues for Al, so eventually he had a plan for this, actually. It was either going to be Petra or Meili that was going to read Subaru's Book of the Dead. And this triggered Satella to come out and essentially try to wipe out who read the Book of the Dead, which was Petra. And it essentially forced Reinhard on a deadlock with Satella. Because a lot of things to keep in mind is that the Pleiades Watchtower, where it's located, is where Satella is sealed. So that means the Witch's Miasma is stronger there, and Reinhard is a bit nerfed. I mean, not enough nerfed to actually beat him, but he's a little bit nerfed. And because of this, Al and Volcanica were able to escape, and they go back with their little group, Heinkel and Yae, which they are all going to work together to get to Kuraragi in order to go to somewhere to throw Subaru, to get rid of him out of the world. Because if one thing he knows is that you don't fight Subaru in his territory, which is Return by Death, because that is essentially a losing battle. And throughout this entire thing, Felt and her entire camp fight Aldebaran. And one interesting thing is that Old Man Rom was able to figure out how Al's little authority works, and would have sacrificed himself to have completely beaten him, but Felt let herself be captured. It led to more things, because Al went to rescue Roy, because he needs Roy for something, and essentially forced him into a contract of sorts. There's also the fight between Emilia and Al, a pissed off Emilia, mind you. We have Volcanica versus Wilhelm, that leads into Heinkel betraying his father and stabbing him in the back. Now, not to say that Heinkel's a piece of shit, Wilhelm also is kind of a shitty dad, because, well, you know, the whole thing with Teresia kind of made him be a dick to everyone in his family. And then there's the whole thing of Al forcing Roy to kind of do something in order to stun lock everyone from the Emilia camp, because he freed Rem's memories and name. So effectively, Rem is back in action, fully now. We also get to learn that Sylphie is one of the wives from Regulus, is part of the Emilia camp as a maid, and is supporting Emilia, because, you know, Emilia saves her from everything hellish that she had to go through. And we also get, like, the whole, finally, everyone is reunited. Rem is reunited with everyone properly. She has her memories back. Everyone remembers Rem for sure now. And yeah, we learn a little bit more, thanks to Klein, like, of melancholy and vainglory, a bit more about the authorities and stuff. Petra sacrifices as something after, like, getting understanding of Subaru's, like, whole Return by Death stuff. And that sacrifice is eventually something we will learn for sure in this final phase. But they all come up with a plan, because Rem is able to figure out about Subaru going back in time and stuff. Like, she figured it out real quick. Petra essentially tells her, like, not to mention anything because the witch is listening. Kind of is slightly indicating. And obviously, there's the big battle, the final confrontation of Al's group versus what is essentially Petra's group, because she's the main leader of this whole entire thing. And yeah, how do we conclude things? Yae is the only one realistically standing in this fight against Emilia and Rem. Al is on the run, like, trying to get to the thing to throw Subaru out of the world. Roy was defeated because it took a shit ton of people sacrificing a bunch of things to the melancholy glitch factor, which completely dominated Roy. And then there is Volcanica, he was defeated by the efforts of Roswell, Clind, and Ezzo. All two magicians and a dragonoid working together to destroy the dragon and defeat him. And yeah, so that is the recap. A little bit longer than I thought I would say. Now, what do I think is going to happen? What is the final battle gonna look like? Well, we have to first say that Yae is going to be defeated. I have no doubt about it. Now, how am I going to think they were going to do it? I think that fight should be between Rem and Yae, because those two are essentially each other's mirrors when it comes down to their loyalties towards Al/Subaru. And then that's how I kind of think. I think they have to have either Emilia or Rem go after Al, because obviously Yae is going to try to stall, and they're going to realize that. I do think another wild card is Petra herself going after to confront Al, and her authority probably being able to actually counter Al's authority. Now, do I think Al's authority is... well, it's not pride for sure, so it's probably a variation of envy. And if not, then it's probably something completely different. But if I were to theorize something, because there is one thing, how will this arc end? Well, I can at least guarantee that Al will be defeated. Now, whether he succeeds in his mission or not, that's kind of the question. Because here's how I see it. If he does succeed, then we could have a bit of time of Subaru being back in Japan and go to basically confront his parents, like his real parents, and talk to them, and Beatrice maybe being there. Maybe in the potential of that version of events, we could have where Subaru does reveal Return by Death to Beatrice without the penalties because he's back in Japan. And that is because Tappei, as mentioned, Petra was not originally the first one that was going to learn about Return by Death. So a lot of it comes down to, it could be that. It could be that he might end up back home and he reveals the Return by Death to to Beatrice. And that is when we start the thing of people finding out about Return by Death. That could be one way of doing things. Now, personally, that kind of is, I mean, it would mean that Al was able to succeed, but at what cost? Because he's for sure going to be defeated and probably crystallized like Roy was, because, I mean, how else do you kill someone who can just constantly return back to time? So, I think that's how it's going to be. One potential aspect. Another potential aspect is if Aldebaran fails. Now, here's where the problem comes in. Because I do want Al to fail because it'll show that Emilia and the others are able to handle things without Subaru. My only consensus to that is that you see, Tappei has mentioned in the Q&A that Subaru, in all arts, it cannot survive and will die. At least once. Guess what hasn't happened? He hasn't died yet. So I'm a little worried that if Al does fail, and somehow Satella, you could say that Reinhardt was not able to subdue Satella, so she starts destroying the world. It'll force Subaru to return by death right before all of this happened and essentially do the Great Reset theory. And I don't like that. Now, obviously, I trust Tappei in whatever he's gonna do, because I have a feeling that he knows what he's doing. But after all, it's one thing if he did it on a phase like he did for the whole Gladiator arc, or I guess the Gladiator phase, and now he sort of had a hard reset there because Subaru's the Return by Death was kind of malfunctioning, and I can kind of justify that a bit, but not a whole fucking arc. That would actually make me mad. Now, obviously, there's maybe a theme, and I think the question is, why? What would serve a purpose for Subaru to undo every single thing that happened here? Because he would also be losing Rem. I think that's one main aspect of things. Unless Satella is able to just wipe out everyone and that, he has to return by death. I don't know what else to think. Honestly, I thought he was going to use Roy to eat Subaru's name in order to, completely make him be forgotten. Or maybe, after he does his thing, have him be eaten, his name, in order so that way no one can go after him. It is unclear, but I definitely am a little bit suspicious on the ending. Personally, I would like if he does lose and that Subaru doesn't return by death. You know, one arc where he doesn't actually suffer or die. That would be nice. But I doubt Subaru's going to get it that easy after a whole arc of being, well, kind of resting. Now, there is another thing I do want to talk about. Aldebaran. I made a video kind of claiming that Aldebaran equals Subaru, that it's kind of confirmed. Because what else are we supposed to interpret with the fact that you have Echidna from the dream world talking to what is essentially Subaru? Like you can't fool me here. This is indeed Subaru's attire, Subaru look-alike. It's just we don't see the face. Now I do see some people kind of claim that this is probably just an illusion. Maybe he isn't Subaru. And look, do I think Al is Subaru? I think I will say I am 75 to 80% sure that is the case. With the other percentage being that something else is going on and that maybe we should kind of be still on guard on things. Because Aldebaran, his origins, we have to learn it in this final arc. I don't think Aldebaran is going to continue from here. I think he's done too much damage. He's burnt all bridges at this point. And after all the shit he's gone through, I think he's going to be labeled a villain and that he is going to be in prison. So something similar to how Pride if Subaru was essentially labeled as the biggest threat to Lagunica. And, he let himself die, yes, but, he would have probably been captured and shit if they had the chance to capture him. It is just, I know that Aldebaran's done here. Like, there is nothing else he can do to essentially save all himself after all the shit he had essentially put everyone through. Now, I am obviously... It is kind of hard to say on a lot of these matters because it's just speculation, and it's fun to speculate. But this is probably the first arc I genuinely don't know what to think. Like, I even think arc 7 and 8 had a bit more of interesting things to probably predict. But arc 9, I feel like this is like the hardest one how to end something so peak. Because the ending is going to matter. It's going to really affect whether or not this is the greatest arc of ReZero. Because, goddamn, I am kind of curious how things are going to end. But that is what I think. I am curious what you guys think. I thought I'd make a video of this because obviously the chapters haven't been posted yet, and I kind of want to at least get my thoughts out and see if I'm right or wrong. Obviously, if I'm wrong, well, that's fine. If I'm right, well, cool, I got it right. But if I'm wrong, then cool. I want to see how Tappei goes about things. But overall, this is my thoughts, like, genuinely speaking. This arc is a roller coaster of things. I haven't felt this excited in such a long while. So, yeah. Those are my thoughts. I wonder what you guys think, what you guys are predicting, and then we can come back and see if we were right or wrong. Anyway, this is Green Words, and I am one signing out. Peace.